Hi, welcome to the Whitney. My name is Laura, and today we'll be making art inspired by a work created especially for the cafe on the top floor of the museum. It's called Nourish by Dyani Whitehawk. This work of art is 14.5 feet tall and almost 31 feet long. It's made of thousands and thousands of handmade ceramic tiles. Dyani Whitehawk is of Sichangu Lakota and European American ancestry. Her art draws from Lakota traditions of beadwork, painting, and quill work, a form of embroidery using porcupine quills. The abstract forms she creates using these traditions also respond to modernist painters who were influenced by Native American art, like Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko. Sometimes these 20th century artists are credited with inventing abstract art. Whitehawk reminds us that abstraction is much, much older, tracing all the way back through ancient lineages of indigenous women. Let's take a look. From a distance, you can see the overall visual structure, a series of tall diamond shapes repeating in a symmetrical, rhythmic pattern of bold geometric forms. When I first started looking at the work, what stood out to me the most were the bold strips of black zigzagging across the wall. Now, let's get a little closer and really examine the details. As you approach, you'll see that those areas that stood out to me, in fact, are not black at all, nor are they solid. They are actually made up of hundreds of smaller tiles. These tiles are not even all the same color. They subtly shift across the surface, different shades of dark greens and grays. Your eye might be drawn to different formations of tiles. Some are geometric, like diamonds, squares, and triangles. Others reveal themselves as more organic forms, like stars or flowers. Notice the colors of these tiles: forest greens, charcoal grays, and sky blues contrasted by crisp whites, deep reds, warm yellows, and soft blacks that make up the color palette, piece by piece. Whitehawk chose these colors after looking carefully at the natural landscapes of the places now known as Wisconsin and Minnesota, where she was raised and lives today. The colors of the tiles mimic gradients found in the natural world. Let's make a story with shapes and colors, inspired by Whitehawk's Nourish. To do this project, you'll need some paper. Make sure to have a few extra sheets to work out your perfect color palette. You'll need something with a straight edge. I'm using this ruler. You could use the spine of a book or anything solid that you can draw against to create a straight line. A graphite pencil and some colors. You could use whatever material you like: colored pencils, markers, wax crayons, or even watercolor paints. If you're using messy materials, make sure to protect the surface you're working on. Now, let's talk about colors. We're going to add a challenge to this project. Artists sometimes make up rules to help direct their creativity. It's like a game. Game isn't really a game without rules, and it's the rules that make it fun. So today, we're going to use only straight lines and only 5 colors. These are the challenges should you choose to accept them, but as always, you're the artist and you make the rules, so do whatever inspires you the most. Choose a special memory to inspire your work of art. This could be a specific moment, like when you rode a bike for the first time or lost a tooth at school. It could also be an important place, like your favorite tree in the park. What colors come to mind when you think about the memory you chose? On a piece of paper, start to plan out your color palette. Do what feels best to you. Lots of artists create a color palette before getting to work, and it can be a useful step to work out the harmony of the colors you chose. It helps you see if they're successful at creating the mood. Sometimes it takes a few tries to find the tone that is just right to represent your memory. Now, let's prepare our drawing. Use your straight edge to draw lines that go across your entire sheet of paper. You could make lines that are parallel, or they could be perpendicular. They could bisect at all different kinds of angles. I'm sort of experimenting to see what kinds of forms emerge. You decide when your sheet feels full of interesting shapes and you're ready to add colors. You might find that certain colors in your palette are stronger and bolder than others. Colors can even appear kind of different depending on what other color they're next to. How does the placement of the colors impact how you experience them? When you're done, give your work a title. First, you chose these colors based on something that's important to you. Then you played our art challenge. Take a look now. How does the mood of your work respond to your final composition? Just like Dyani Whitehawk called her work Nourish, you can use your title to give viewers a clue to what it's about.